All right, we have no other than Kelsey Pistol Mitchell live on the Sue Bird podcast, I believe Bird's Eye View, and she's addressing what it's like being Caitlin Clark's teammate, the fit on the floor. How are you fitting on the floor? Is this something that can work going forward? And you have to understand, we are walking into this in defense mode. I'm sorry, Kelsey. We rocked with you, but Stephanie White has drawn a line in the sand, and you know what side we are standing on. It's as simple as that. Stephanie White has clearly ruined this dynamic duo that was.
So, Kelsey Mitchell just dropped a huge bomb, right? She basically said, with Caitlin Clark here, it's Caitlin's show, wherever she goes. Everyone else, including Kelsey herself, just has to figure out their role. And look, that wasn't just some casual comment. It was this brutally honest, undeniable truth about the power on the team. You could feel the tension in the room, like fans just got what she was saying, realizing all this unspoken stuff was simmering beneath the surface. It totally changed how we think about the Fever, kicking off a huge debate about what's next for this big duo.
So Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark has been probably the best backcourt in the WNBA for the last 2 years. When they were playing on the floor this season, they were the best backcourt in the WNBA. I don't think there's really a comparison. Maybe Courtney Williams and Kayla McBride, based on last season, but they're not better than Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Let's just call a spade a spade. They're not better than them. But at the end of the day, we do have to talk about just, is their fit the greatest? Is their fit not the greatest? And they're conversations that we're going to be having for years. Like, they are conversations.
And get this, Mitchell even talked about her conversations with the Fever's front office. She confirmed that this whole chaotic adjustment period, it wasn't just on the players. She said, flat out, that the entire organization should have adjusted. That's a huge deal. It implies there was a serious lack of preparation at the top for bringing in the biggest star in women's basketball. She's basically saying the team failed to really integrate Clark, leaving players like her to just figure it out. It's a clear statement about mismanaged expectations, without even having to directly point fingers.
Line in the sand, and you know what side we are standing on. It's as simple as that. Stephanie White has clearly ruined this dynamic duo that was the most exciting thing to watch in women's basketball, period. When she keeps doing things like, Kelsey Mitchell was the #1 priority last summer, she's the #1 priority this summer. When she keep doing stuff like, you doing it too much, you doing too much. Stephanie White is the one who said she's building the team around Kelsey Mitchell. All right, well, if you're doing that, then we need to go elsewhere. So I'm interested to see what you're going to have to say. We got Kelsey Mitchell exposing the truth on what she feels it's like.
Look, that whole Batman and Robin thing she said, that wasn't just some casual joke. She was basically demanding everyone understand the new reality. With Clark as Batman, everyone else, including Kelsey, had to figure out if they were Robin or some totally different character. This isn't about personal ego at all. It's about defining roles in a team that's completely changed. Her words just cut right through everything, showing the massive challenge of bringing in a generational talent without any real plan. It forces everyone to face who's really in charge. That kind of brutal honesty from a veteran, it really highlights the cost of not being ready.
Mitchell wants to score. She will score in any way. On the ball, off the ball, spot up shooting, ISO, taking smart, efficient shots, taking dumb shots in transition. She is a gunner. You can't run. Where my problem isn't with Kelsey Mitchell. My problem is purely with Steph White. Purely with Steph White. Because I think Steph White is kind of allowing Kelsey Mitchell, especially when, like, you have to play a certain way to accommodate Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark. And to do that,
What's crazy is this interview revealed a huge detail. Kelsey Mitchell actually talked to Fever ownership and the higher-ups before Clark even arrived, about all the adjustments they'd need to make. This wasn't her just reacting after everything blew up. She saw this coming. It really makes you think the organization knew what was coming, but just didn't put a solid plan in place. Mitchell being so proactive highlights this huge gap between what the players understood was coming and what the front office actually did. It leaves you wondering why those warnings weren't taken more seriously.
We need to go elsewhere. So I'm interested to see what you're gonna have to say. We got Kelsey Mitchell exposing the truth on what she feels it's like being in a tandem with Caitlin Clark, her presence in the locker room and on the floor. Let's take a look. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video as always. Let's not play no games. Let's not waste no time. Kelsey, I just want you to know, be careful, because we are in defense mode and it's not our fault. It's not our fault. The coach you love, Stephanie White, has put us in.
Now, commentators were quick to point fingers, and they landed squarely on Coach Stephanie White. The accusation was pretty damning. They argued White had basically sabotaged this potential dynamic duo by saying Kelsey Mitchell was her #1 priority for building the team. Critics believe this was a huge strategic mistake, creating this fake hierarchy that just undermined Clark's natural leadership and messed with team chemistry. It really makes White look like she's the one behind all these internal struggles, directly threatening how well those two superstar guards could play together.
Clark. From an organizational level, they didn't prepare for Caitlin Clark. They knew they were getting Caitlin Clark for literally 5 months before a draft. And at an organizational level, they still weren't prepared for her to come in.
I think that, that was big for everybody. Pacers Entertainment, People Organization. I felt like at that time, there was a lot of, role playing that had to be, situated. I feel like, that when something that big or someone that big who has that much impact comes into something, there are a lot of adjustments that people have to make on the floor, off the floor, in the locker room, in the training room.
Plus, the analyst breakdown of Mitchell's playing style was pretty brutal. They called her a gunner, where the offense just stops with her. See, Kelsey naturally wants to isolate and score, and that clashes hard with Clark's style, which is all about dominating the ball and facilitating. This core incompatibility, made even worse by Coach White's philosophy, turned what could have been a smooth partnership into this constant fight for who they are offensively. The real truth about their fit on the court isn't some personal beef, it's a total clash of basketball ideas. It really makes you wonder if these two can ever truly work together.
I think that in a short, yeah. I think naturally, yes, because of the society, the social media, and how bad, people take the social media and abuse it for in the wrong realm of light. And so I think that's one part of it. But I also think that it was an adjustment period. And I talked to, the FIFA organization about this. It's like, I think it was an adjustment period that, we all should have adjusted to throughout the course of the organization. I think that, that was big for everybody. Pacers Entertainment, People Organization. I felt like at that time, there was a lot of,
But here's the thing. There was a moment of magic. Right after the Olympic break, Clark and Mitchell were like peanut butter and jelly out there. It was just a magical, seamless fit. They both dropped over 20 points, dished out assists, grabbed rebounds, that golden period, even though it was short, totally proved what they could be. Now that synergy is completely gone, and fans are just heartbroken, desperate to see that explosive chemistry return. The memory of how good it could be just makes what's happening now even more tragic, really fueling all the frustration.
So we're not counting any of Caitlin Clark's season this year as healthy. She was not healthy for one day of this season. We can be honest here. She was injured for the entirety of the season. Like, if they go into next season and they're hovering around 500, then you can start the question things. If they're hovering around 500 coming into the All-Star break, I know they were this year as well, but then you can start to question things. You can see, we can talk about the coaches, we can talk about the fit, we can talk about personnel. But for now, I think Kelsey Mitchell will be dumb not to give it another year.
Meanwhile, amidst all this drama, Mitchell actually gave a surprising shout-out to Clark's character. She really respected that Caitlin never acted like she was bigger than the team and wasn't arrogant, even with all her star power. She understood her role. This praise totally messes with the easy narrative, proving these problems aren't about personality clashes at all. It's more about deep structural and philosophical issues. Mitchell showed real respect for Clark herself, even while she was critiquing everything around her, and that makes her whole argument even stronger, you know?
No, that was big for everybody. Pacers Entertainment, People Organization. I felt like at that time, there was a lot of,
Yeah, there has to be an adjustment. You got the biggest star in women's sports coming onto the team. And it's now, and wherever she go, it's her show. So everybody got to find a role. Batman is there. You can be Robin, or y'all got to figure out what y'all gonna be. It's as simple as that. But obviously, there's a huge adjustment when Caitlin Clark joins the team. It sounds like Kelsey Mitchell had conversations with the ownership or the higher ups about what was about to take.
And the blunt truth is, Clark needs to assert her power now. That time for humility, it's over. Analysts are making it super clear. Clark has to take a stand. She needs to declare, "This is my show. You're either in or you're out." That means challenging coaches, other players, even the organization itself. This isn't just about winning games anymore. It's about taking back her own story and establishing the hierarchy that frankly should have been there from day one. But pressure on Clark just went way up, and everyone's looking for her to make a decisive move to lock in her rightful spot.
I know they wear this year as well, but then you start to question things. You can see, we can talk about the coaches, we can talk about the fit, we can talk about personnel. But for now, I think Kelsey Mitchell would be dumb not to give it another year. She'd be dumb. She's going to get cored, so it's a one-year deal anyway. I think Kelsey Mitchell, I like Kelsey Mitchell. I think she's smart. She knows what's best for her career. And I think even if she thinks what's best for her career is outside Indiana, she would be incredibly stupid to not just stall 1 year. To not go get cored and give it one more go, because maybe it does work out.
Like, it wasn't like she was.
The thing is, this idea of Clark asserting her power, it's not new at all. Commentators have been saying she should have taken control way back when Stephanie White first said she was building the team around Kelsey Mitchell. They believe that was the moment Clark should have drawn a line in the sand. Her not acting then, well, that's what many think led to this whole mess we're in now. It really highlights a crucial chance Clark missed to establish her dominance early, and it set the stage for all these internal power struggles we're seeing.
You know what I'm saying? It was like butter on toast. It was magical. It was magical. Like, it was a seamless fit. You were scoring 20-some a night. She's scoring 20-some a night, getting 10, 12 assists, 8 rebounds. Like, y'all putting on shows, scoring 100-plus points every single game. Like, it was must-see TV. And now it seems like it has been completely distorted.
She never was bigger than the program. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, it wasn't like she wasn't trying to take over. It wasn't. I don't know how to explain that. You know what I'm trying to say, though?
Yeah, no, I know what you're trying to say. It's like she knows who she is.
But here's a critical factor that people often overlook. Clark's entire season has been plagued by injuries. We haven't even seen the true capabilities of the Clark-Mitchell duo, or how effective any system could be with a fully healthy Caitlin. This whole revelation really throws a wrench into any quick judgments. It suggests that a lot of the criticism about their fit might actually be premature. The analyst is firm. Her season shouldn't even count as healthy. That means their full potential is still untapped, which just adds a layer of tragic irony to all this current turmoil.
Kelsey Mitchell, we've always said it. And by the way, she stopped the dribble, sidestep, long twos last year in the playoffs. She didn't do that. It was a lot of dribble into three-point shots, but they needed that. Like, they needed Kelsey to take bad shots in the playoffs. But for a lot of last season and a lot of season 4, Kelsey Mitchell's natural instinct, her instinct is to do dumb shit, but she's not dumb, if you get me. Like, when Kelsey Mitchell thinks about making her cuts, when she thinks about how she's playing, she is an incredibly smart player. Her instinct is to take long twos, because obviously that's the way she's played. Like, it's not like anyone who's played ball knows that there's a difference between.
On top of that, there's this looming possibility that Kelsey Mitchell could actually leave Indiana, which just adds another huge layer of drama. One analyst provocatively said Mitchell would be incredibly stupid not to give the Fever one more year, basically hinting that she could totally leave if things don't get better. That's not just a comment, it's a direct challenge. It implies that if the team stays dysfunctional, Kelsey's long-term future in Indiana is seriously up in the air. This kind of speculation just fuels all the tension around players leaving Indiana, making every single future game feel like a make-or-break moment.
But I think now we are at a point where Caitlyn does need to start doing some of the things you said she don't do, like asserting her power. She needs to start taking a stand and making everybody understand, yo, this is my show. This is how things are gonna go. You in or you out. And that goes for coaches, players, everybody. I think we are starting to get to that point. We are, forget starting. Once Stephanie White went and said what she said about building a team around you, oh yeah, Caitlin Clark should have already started asserting her power right then and there. No question about it.
What's more, the deep dive into Mitchell's two different playing styles was really eye-opening. You've got the instinctual dumb stat player who just defaults to long isolation shots, and then there's the incredibly smart off-ball specialist. The big challenge is suppressing that first one to unleash the second. The analyst actually argued that if Kelsey consistently played off-ball, using her intelligence, she could easily lead the league in scoring next year. This proves the issue isn't her talent, but the system and her instincts. That's a hard truth, and it demands a fundamental change in how they approach things.
Off-ball guard. But the problem is that Caitlin Clark's terrible off the ball, and Kelsey Mitchell sometimes overdoes it when she's on the ball. So when Kelsey Mitchell tries to be out-and-out scorer ISO Kelsey, Caitlin doesn't complement that, and that doesn't complement Caitlin. When Kelsey is the off-the-ball specialist, she could average 20. She could lead the league in scoring next year. I'm not joking when I say that. She could lead the league in scoring, while Caitlin averages 11 assists a game. That's not impossible.
Compliment AB, and so like
Definitely
the one
AB.
thing I love about Caitlyn too is that we all love basketball the same way. We all have our different styles of way of.
And get this, Caitlin Clark, in her interactions with teammates, was described as a kid in a candy store. She's this bright light, whose passion for basketball just doesn't waver, even through injuries. This genuine love for the game, along with her unassertive presence in the locker room, actually earned Mitchell's deep respect. It just highlights that despite all the team's struggles and her needing to step up as a leader, Clark's true character is all about the pure joy of basketball. That just makes all this organizational friction even more frustrating for fans who can see her undeniable passion.
She is, but in a good way. She's a live light, and she her personality shows in her game, and it's dope for her.
So you see, Kelsey Mitchell had nothing but good things to say about Caitlin Clark, which is why I still believe this duo can work. But I don't know if this duo can work with Stephanie White at the head, because Stephanie White wants to mess up the pecking order. Stephanie White wants to mess up the pecking order and build and make this Kelsey Mitchell's team, when that's just not what it is. Get down in the comments and let me know what you think about this. This is Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel.
The thing is, and this is crucial, analysts are really emphasizing that despite all the on-court fit issues and coaching problems, both Kelsey Mitchell and Caitlin Clark want to play together. This directly refutes that whole popular idea of them having some personal beef, which you hear a lot from casual fans. The real conflict isn't between them as players. It's totally within the system, the coaching, and how unprepared the organization was. This distinction makes it clear the problems are systemic, not personal, which just adds a ton of complexity to an already volatile situation.
One of the things you can see, these two players, no matter what you think about them, and look, I will question the fit. I'm going to question the fit. I'm going to question the way the system that Stephanie White's running. And I think one of the problems with this whole WNBA fandom is that everyone makes everything personal. Thinks every comment is purely made out of emotion. Not everyone has to see the basketball the same way. Not every player, that's the person's a fan of a team, has to see the basketball the same way. Not every person has to have the same basketball philosophy. There are incredible coaches that don't suit certain players. They're incredible.
Look, a bigger issue, according to commentators, is how WNBA fans tend to personalize every critique. Any talk about coaching philosophy or player fit, it instantly gets spun as a personal attack or dislike. This toxic environment just makes objective analysis and real criticism impossible. The analyst really pushed for fans to be able to critique strategy and personnel without it turning into a character assassination, asking for a more mature discussion about the team's challenges instead of jumping to emotional extremes. And yet, despite all this internal turmoil and external pressure, there's still a strong belief that Mitchell and Clark are almost certainly going to play together next season. This commitment, no matter the fan speculation or organizational hiccups, puts immense pressure on the team to finally make it work. The analyst even set a benchmark. If they're still hovering around 500 by the All-Star break next year, then questions about coaches, fit, and personnel become totally legitimate. Until then, there's cautious hope for their undeniable potential. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from Kelsey Mitchell's candid revelation? It's clear, the Indiana Fever is teetering on a real precipice. Her blunt assessment of the adjustment period, that whole Batman and Robin dynamic, and the undeniable need for Caitlin Clark to assert control. It's all laid bare the organizational failures and coaching controversies threatening to derail a truly historic partnership. The coming season isn't just about wins and losses. It's a make-or-break moment. It'll determine if this explosive duo can overcome these systemic challenges, or if all these savage truths will ultimately lead to a dramatic and heartbreaking separation.